Hello and welcome to another episode of UA Overtime. I'm your host, Joe. I'm here with Megan, Carl, and Dylan. We got some great topics for you today, but first things first, we're going to talk about Major League Baseball. Yesterday, the MLB released their winnings for the Cy Young and the MVP race. So the Cy Young Award winners were David Price for the AL and R.A. Dickey for the NL. So we're going to talk about that first. What are your reactions to that, Dylan?
I'm going to start off with R.A. Dickey. He absolutely deserved it. He was on a terrible Mets team, and the fact that he won 20 games on such a bad team, he definitely earned it. And then the AL Cy Young, it was close. It was an argument between Verlander or Price. I think they got it right with David Price. He won 20 games, tied for the AL lead, 3 more than Verlander. He had a better ERA with a 2.56 ERA compared to Verlander's 2.64. Verlander had more strikeouts, but he also pitched in 27 more innings. So that would balance out if they had the same amount of innings. And when it comes down to it with Price is he dominated the best division in baseball, the AL East. He was 10-2 with a 2.51 ERA against the AL East. The Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, and that won it for him. Being that dominant against the best division was definitely the reason he won the Cy Young.
Okay.
All right. I think that R.A. Dickey, I think it's really cool that he came up and won that award. I definitely agree with you. To see him persevere from being cut in 2009, like from the team, it shows a lot about his character, and it's good that he won. Also, I think that Verlander, should have won over Price. He also led his team to a World Series, which is huge for a team. To have a good pitcher like that, and all the stats, they're so even, but I think that since his team went farther, it shows more.
Okay, Carl?
Yeah, see, I agree with R.A. Dickey winning it. I think he was a unanimous deserver of the award. He went through so much stuff in his life. Just the fact that he's a knuckleball pitcher and he led in almost every category, or second in every category, I think he won that award. And for Verlander, I think Verlander got robbed here. He should have won that award. He led his team to the World Series. He's by far the best pitcher in baseball. His fastball gets faster during games, which nobody else can do. And just the fact that he led the league in strikeouts and he had a lower whip, he led the league in whip too. I think that he should have won that over David Price.
Okay. I agree with everybody said. Everybody here had great points. I do love that R.A. Dickey won. It's great to see an older journeyman pitcher and, like you said, a knuckleball pitcher, which really isn't anybody, and no one really strives to be a knuckleball pitcher these days. So that's great to see that he won on a team that puts up little to no run support. I mean, the Mets lineup was awful this year, so that's great that he won 20 games. I mean, that says a lot more than anything else. I agree with you guys about the AL also. I mean, it's really close between Verlander and Price. The only thing you have to think about is that the MVP, which we're going to talk about in a minute, a lot of the people who voted for Cabrera said he led his team farther and it was a winning team. Well, shouldn't that apply then for the Cy Young? Because Verlander, like you said, led his team to the World Series. So wouldn't you kind of point that out? That's just the thing that they didn't bring up, which
I don't think that's fair, though, for pitchers because they go 1 every 5 games. You can't factor in how good the team is. When David Price won 20 games, he was the reason they were even in contention at the end. It's not his fault the Rays weren't as good as the Tigers' offense. They go 1 every 5 games. It's not the most valuable pitcher. It's the best pitcher.
Agreed.
I think he was the best pitcher.
The only thing that kind of bothers me is that, baseball is one of those sports where it doesn't matter if one player is good. It's a team sport.
Yeah.
So
it's all timing.
Exactly.
But it's not most valuable pitcher, though. It's the best pitcher.
Agreed. That was just something I was thinking about.
I understand.
So the second thing would be the MVP. We're going to say Buster Posey. He won the National League MVP, and Miguel Cabrera wins the AL MVP, which was thought to be a closer race over Mike Trout. So what are your reactions to that, Dylan?
I think they got it right with Posey. His team made the playoffs. Like I'm saying, the most valuable player, it matters if their team makes the playoff. His team made the playoffs. Ryan Braun had a great year. He came back after the PED test. He had better stats than last year, but Posey's a great defensive catcher. His team made the playoffs. He led them. They got that right with the NL MVP. The AL MVP, I think they got it right. I'm going to start off by saying Mike Trout is the best overall player in baseball. If I have the #1 pick in my fantasy draft next year, I'm taking Trout. But we're talking most valuable to his team. With 16 games left in the regular season, the Tigers were 3 games back. And down that stretch, Miguel Cabrera came up with big hit after big hit, huge home runs. He solidified his Triple Crown, and he led the Tigers into the playoffs with Verlander. The Angels finished 3rd in the West. You have to factor that in. Trout had a huge year, but it was Miguel Cabrera's year. I think Trout's got a lot of awards in the future, but I think this was Miguel Cabrera's year. He was the MVP for me.
Okay, Megan?
Yeah, I'm going to start off with Miguel Cabrera. I definitely think the Triple Crown is a great award. He should have got the MVP. I think that he definitely helped his team the most. Mike Trout, he's so young. He's going to have awards down the future, down the line. There's no doubt about that. And I can't take anything away from him. He had great stats all year. With Posey, I think they also got it right too with the NL. I don't know, pretty much I think that he's a great catcher. It's nice to see a catcher win. That's very uncommon. So with both these awards, they got it right.
Okay, Carl?
Yeah, I agree. I think they got both awards right. You know, Trout had a great year, and I agree with you. He is the best overall player in the league. But he had a good year when Miguel Cabrera hit for the cycle, so that was kind of the win for Cabrera right there. And his team did go to the World Series, which is something you could argue over that. But Mike Trout, in the years coming, he's a stud already. He's probably going to win MVP later in his career. And
Absolutely.
And, you know, Miguel Cabrera, he's getting older, but he's still pretty young, so we'll see.
All right, agreed. I agree with everybody. Everything everybody said is good. There's no winner and loser in these races because they were so close. I think the Buster Posey thing was a no-brainer. I'm just bothered that the Cabrera-Trout race wasn't closer. Like, I wouldn't have cared if Cabrera won and it was close, but everyone said this was going to be one of the closest MVP races in memory, and it wasn't. It was a blowout, and that really bothers me because I feel like the entire thing about the Triple Crown just got blown way out of proportion. Yeah, it's a great achievement, but say he would have hit three less home runs, and he only wins 2 of the categories. Does that mean he's less deserving of the MVP? It just bothered me because everyone's talking about what a winning team the Tigers had. If the Tigers were in the West, they would have finished behind the Angels. They had a better record than they did. It's not Mike Trout's fault and the Angels' fault that they were in a better division. He had a higher on-base percentage. He's a way better defender, and he steals bases. And it also bothers me people talking about his RBIs. He's a leadoff hitter, so there's no RBIs to be had for him. So it's just kind of like people really harped on the stats so much, but they made it seem like the stats that Cabrera let in were more important than the statistical categories that Trout let in, which necessarily isn't true. I would rather have a player that is a great fielder and is great on the base paths than someone who's like a statue at third base. The only reason he even plays third base is because they signed Fielder at first and he can't move.
I agree. The voting should have been closer. I would have went with Miguel Cabrera, but the voting should have been a lot closer than it was. It was a blowout.
It was like 22-6, like voting.
Not even close.
Not even close.
But it's funny because ESPN, they all were going for Trout, and
and then it came up and it was such a blowout.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. So I mean, everybody had a great year, so we can't be mad at that. We're going to come back for the second quarter, talk about some college basketball. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're going to start our second quarter debate. We're going to be talking about some college basketball. The NCAA tipped off a couple days ago some of our big games. We had Kentucky versus Duke, in which Duke came out victorious, and Michigan State beat Kansas. Those are just some of the headlines that have went through. So we're going to talk about now our predictions and outlooks for the season. So, Carl, what do you think?
Oh, well, I want to talk about the Kentucky Duke game. Coach Cal said before the game that his team was not ready to play. They're a young team. They're all freshmen, the majority of the team. Nerlens Noel, he's #1 overall pick. I think that, you know, when Coach Cal says that, it seems like he doesn't have confidence in his team. And I've been watching the All Access Kentucky, and I just think that they're a better team than what he gives them a rap for. But he's their coach, so he's going to be hard on them. I think Kentucky will go farther this year, though. It was a disappointing loss to Duke, but Duke's a veteran team. The team I'm telling you guys to watch out for is North Carolina. James Michael McAdoo, probably going to be Player of the Year next to Cody Zeller, and he's looking really good. He's averaging 25 points per game, and I think that North Carolina is going to be really tough to beat this year.
Okay, Megan?
All right. With the Duke-Kentucky game, I think Kentucky, they put up a good fight, being that they're all freshmen. They had such a close matchup with the seniors, but Seth Curry definitely with the leadership role on Duke, you know, he won the game for them. I think you should watch out for Cincinnati in the Big East. They have a lot of players coming back. They're all playing together. They're very united. And also in the Big 12, I think Baylor might have a breakout season. You should watch for them too.
All right, Dylan?
Regarding the Duke-Kentucky game, it all came down to the veterans, like you guys have been saying. Kentucky's a young team. Calipari's been saying all year leading into the season his team was not going to be last year's team. Don't expect that, and they're not going to be. But they'll figure it out, and they'll be good when it comes time for the tournament. But the team I'm looking out for is Louisville. I'm sticking with Rick Pitino. I think he's the best coach. He took them to the Final Four last year, and their team's even better than they were last year. They're a strong team. I think they're gonna be my team to look out for. They're already like #1 right now. So.
Okay. My initial thought after the first couple games, I do like that they had some big matchups to kick off tip off the season. They got a lot of people back into college basketball. I was a little discouraged to have Duke beat Kentucky because Kentucky did have all these big recruits. But you're right, Calipari did say that was going to happen, which is understandable. You have a bunch of 17, 18-year-old kids running around there with 22-year-old men on Duke. So it's understandable to see that happen. I would watch out for Kentucky, though. When that team has some more chemistry and they've been playing together for a longer time, They're going to be dangerous. I could see them making Elite Eight, Final Four run. Maybe
when
you
they figure
know.
it out.
I definitely agree. It's going to be pretty good when they're all understanding each other.
Coach Cal's a great coach also. And the Michigan State game we talked about too. That's a big win over Kansas. They were an underdog in that game. Izzo is a great coach and an even better tournament coach. So that's another team that has some veteran leadership and some also good freshmen.
He had some big shots in that game. He was clutch.
I could see them making a run come the tournament. He's always a guy to watch out for.
They're always the team that makes
always good at the tournament.
Absolutely.
And it's usually when they're least expected too. So that's definitely a team to watch out for. My team that I'm kind of like that you should watch is Indiana. It's good to see Indiana relevant again because they're such a traditional powerhouse in college basketball. It's like seeing Notre Dame good again in football. Even if you're not a Notre Dame fan, it's just good to have them relevant, and it does more for the sport than it would be, having these new age teams come around. So I like to see Indiana good again. Zeller's a great player. So those are just some of the things that I would look out for. We're going to come back in the third quarter and talk about some football. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Our third quarter debate's going to be on the NFL. We're going to play a little game called Who You Got. So our first matchup is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, an AFC North rivalry matchup. So who you got, Dylan?
I think it's going to be close even without Roethlisberger, but since 2004, since drafting Roethlisberger, the Steelers are 0-4 against Baltimore. When Roethlisberger doesn't play, I think that's going to be huge. But Pittsburgh's good at home. They're undefeated. I think it's going to be a close game because I don't trust Joe Flacco, but I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Okay, Carl?
I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think Leftwich against even the underachieving Ravens defense, I don't think he has a shot.
Okay, Megan?
All right, I'm going to go Baltimore. I want to see a lot of Ray Rice, and with Roethlisberger out, I think Baltimore will take that one.
Okay. I like the Steelers in this game. Like you said, they're a good team at home. It's a rivalry game, so you have to stop worrying about their records and who's better here, who's better there. It's going to be a good game no matter what. I like that Brian Leftwich is a capable backup. That's a position in football that no one talks about. It's very important. You saw 4 starting quarterbacks go down this past week, and if you don't have a good backup, then you're in big trouble in the NFL. So I do like that Byron Leftwich has been a starter in the league before, so that could be big. Our second one is going to be Bears versus 49ers. Dylan,
as of right now, it's a battle of the backups until we find out if Alex Smith is going to start. It's a battle of the backups, and I'm going to go with Colin Kaepernick. I like his explosiveness. He had 66 rushing yards last week and a touchdown. I think that's going to throw off the dominant Bears defense a little bit, and I think the Niners win a close defensive game.
Okay, Carl.
I'm going to go with the Niners too. With Cutler out and Campbell starting, I think the Niners defense will be able to do better than last week and actually win a game. So I'm going to go with the Niners.
All right,
I'm going to go Bears, Jason Campbell, quarterback. The 49ers have a really tough defense, but I still see the Bears winning.
Okay. I like the Bears winning too. I think their defense is the best in the league. I mean, the 49ers are a close second, but the Bears defense is a scoring defense. They could win this game even if their offense fails to put up less than 10 points. So I do like to see the Bears win. That's my prediction on that. So our last prediction is going to be our Thanksgiving games. Our 3 matchups are the Pats versus Jets, the Lions versus the Texans, and the Cowboys versus the Redskins. So what game will you be watching, and who do you got?
I think all 3 games are really good. The NFL did a good job, but I'm going to go with New England destroying the Jets. I think Rex Ryan's head's not going to be in it. He's going to be too angry that he's not eating Thanksgiving dinner. That's going to throw off the Jets, and I think the Pats roll.
Carl?
I'm going to go with the Cowboys-Redskins. It's a classic rivalry in the NFC East, and everyone's favorite team, the Giants. You got to watch, got to watch your division.
All right.
I'm going to do the Texans over the Lions. Texans are a really good team. I like to see their chemistry. They're also definitely leading in the NFL right now, so that'll be exciting to watch.
Okay. I'm going to go Pats-Jets also. As a Jets hater, it's good to see the Jets also having a rough season. I do look to see Belichick blow them out. Although I would say watch out because the Jets and the Patriots are also one of those rivalries where you don't think the Jets have a chance, and then they come out and actually put up a decent game versus the Patriots. Yeah. So you never know. So it's going to be entertaining. I like that all 3 games are good games, so that's going to be fun to watch football the entire day and have some relevant games.
Eat some turkey.
Exactly. Stay tuned. Come back. Our fourth quarter debate is going to be on the New York Knicks and the rest of the NBA. Welcome back. Our fourth quarter debate is going to be on the NBA. The first thing we're going to touch on is your undefeated New York Knicks.
Let's go.
Beat the 7-1 Spurs last night to go to 6-0. Tonight we're playing another good team in the Memphis Grizzlies, I think, that are 6-1. So we're going to get our reactions on that first. What do you think, Dylan?
Last night's game was amazing, and it was something every Knicks fan needed to see. It was a game where Melo struggled offensively, but the team still won. The team rallied around. Kid made big shots. Felton played great, put up 25. Chandler played good, and J.R. Smith continues to shoot out of his mind. He's shooting like 70% right now. And it's something I needed to see is that the team is committed to defense. It's all about shooting threes still, but that's fine. They'll figure that out. But the team, they're playing great right now. It's amazing to watch. And it's really going to come down to Amari Stoudemire is going to make or break this team if they're going to be a title contender. When he comes back, if he commits to defense, they can win the title. They can beat the Heat in 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals and make it to the championship. And Shump's going to come back. He's going to add defense. And I'm tired of the Lakers coaching drama. They're overshadowing the Knicks right now. The Knicks are the best story in basketball. They're the best team. They should be leading. They should be headlining ESPN right now. I'm sick of it. It needs to happen.
All right.
I completely agree. It's nice to see the Knicks winning. Also, it's nice to see Jason Kidd as a veteran and Carmelo Anthony struggling offensively and everyone picking up the slack.
Exactly.
But also, I think the big key is defense. They've held all their 5 opponents to 40 points in the second quarter or second half. But that's big for a team. You know, NBA is very offensively, coordinated there. But it's nice to see the Knicks win. Definitely agree.
All right.
Yeah, it's great to see the Knicks win as a Knicks fan, and I love how Raymond Felton's back. He's playing like a boss, and Melo, he was playing like a boss before, but we saw first time in his career he's played over 40 minutes and only scored 10 points. I mean, Mike Woodson's guys seem committed to defense right now. They're gelling really well together. The chemistry is great for the Knicks right now, and it's only going to get better in the future. We got to see what happens when Amari comes back, but I'm not too worried about that. I think he'll play as a team, and he won't be selfish. So.
Okay. Yeah, just like everybody said, it's great to see the Knicks having a winning team. I'm extremely nervous about Amari coming back. Our team is playing as one right now. Everyone's playing together. There's no selfishness. I'm very nervous to see when Amari comes back in a couple weeks what's going to happen to our team. I would still hope that we have a good record when that happens, and I hope that Amari gets right in line with everybody else and listens to what Woodson says. He's a very defensive-oriented minded coach, and that's a big thing for us. Just like we said before, defense is what's going to win championships, not a flashy offense. So I do like to see the Knicks being relevant again. It's great as a New Yorker.
If this lineup keeps it up, Amari's going to have to come off the bench, in all honesty, for the first couple weeks back. He has to earn his starting spot back. And shout out to Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah.
He's the man. He's playing great. I was skeptical about that pickup when they chose him over Kenyon Martin, but he's playing out. He's playing great off the bench, and I love that pickup.
Yeah, it's nice to see the chemistry that they have.
Yeah, great chemistry.
Agreed. The next thing we're going to talk about is the storylines out in LA right now. Just as Dylan mentioned, you had the LA Lakers pass up after they fired Mike Brown. They pass up hiring Phil Jackson, former Lakers coach who has 11 rings, to sign former Knicks coach Mike D'Antoni. And we're also going to talk about the other LA team, the Clippers, right now, are also off to a great start. They have a great lineup. So we're going to talk about our feelings with the 2 LA teams. What do you think, Dylan?
I don't think it was fair to fire Mike Brown so early on in the season, especially with Steve Nash being banged up. But he's gone now, and I think they can contend with D'Antoni because they have Howard and Metta World Peace for defense. And the West is open right now. OKC really hurt their chances of going back to the finals by trading James Harden. Kevin Martin is not James Harden, and in the playoffs, that's going to be a huge deal, and LA can make it far. But I think the Clippers right now are the best team in the West. It comes down to them and San Antonio, and the Clippers are just so deep. And Chris Paul is going to be in the MVP debate all year because of how deep that team is, and he's the best floor general in basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Lakers. I think they definitely fired him too soon. They're only 4 games into the season. It's not fair. But if it was my choice, I would have picked Phil Jackson. The resume that he has, definitely overpowers the coach that they hired. Also with the Clippers, they're so deep. I love to see Chris Paul make an MVP season this year. The way that he lit up the last game, I hope that he has a great season. And that's about it.
All right.
Yeah, Phil Jackson has a track record. He doesn't do the run and gun offense like D'Antoni. He commits to defense, but he still plays good offense. With D'Antoni, you'll get 110 every night, but you'll give up 115. It's not the same with Jackson. We've seen it in the history books, and I just think that the Lakers aren't going to be there this year because of D'Antoni, and I don't think they have the chemistry. I don't think the Clippers are the favorite, though. I like San Antonio, and I like OKC to go back to the finals. They're both playing well, and I think that we're not going to see either LA team.
You think OKC can make it without James Harden?
I do. They still
they
got a
need
team.
some
I don't think
Ibaka.
Harden balanced out when Westbrook goes off and goes off.
It's true.
Goes
It was
crazy.
stupid that they got rid of him.
I
Honestly,
didn't like that.
He's a good scorer, but they have good leadership. I think that they'll still go far.
It's definitely going to be an interesting year.
Yeah.
My opinion on the whole Lakers thing, obviously they shouldn't have gotten rid of Mike Brown so early. But here's the thing. Mike Brown, no matter what, even though they started 1-4 or whatever, he was going to lead them to the playoffs. They could have started 1-10, and they were still going to make the playoffs with that roster. But the Lakers are like the Yankees. You don't play a season to make the playoffs. You play for championships every year. And Mike D'Antoni is not a championship coach. We just mentioned that championship coaches play defense. He has never, in his career as a head coach, had a team be better than 26th in the NBA for defense. They're not going to play any defense. He has a defensive all-star in Dwight Howard in the middle that he is going to be focused on a run-and-gun team, especially with a team that's getting older. It's not going to be easy for them to do that. I don't like that at all. If I was a Lakers fan, I am not happy they passed up on Phil Jackson, arguably the greatest coach of all time, to go hire a coach that is not proven. It just doesn't make any sense.
He did so much for that franchise, and they just passed him up like nothing. Like
they
he's
said
nobody.
That they didn't want to go with like the public's view on this, but like the numbers don't lie. Like he has 11 rings, so
it was money too. They paid 1/3 of what they would have to pay for Phil Jackson. That factors into it.
Agreed, but you're the Lakers. You
I
can't
know.
be worrying about money. It's the same thing as Yankees. You would trade whatever you were going to pay Phil Jackson for a ring, guaranteed.
Oh yeah, but it does factor in.
So, all right, that's our feelings on that. We're going to come back and do our overtime topic. Talk about your Albany Great Danes basketball team. Stay tuned.
Let the party rock.
Welcome back. Our our overtime debate is going to be on your Albany Great Dane basketball team. One of the biggest wins in school history this past weekend. They beat the defending Pac-12 champion Washington Huskies. It's a huge win for the Albany Great Danes basketball team. We're going to talk about our reactions to that first. Dylan, what do you think?
When I heard the news, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. If I was at that game, me and my friends would have stormed the court, even though we probably got kicked out after, but that's fine. Mike Black hit the game-winning layup with 3 seconds left. Great win. It's their first win ever against a major BCS team. They were 0 for 28 before this win. It's great. I'm from Albany, and I remember in 2006 when they made the NCAA tournament how incredibly behind the team the whole city got. And I'm hoping that they can use this as momentum and praying that they can make the tournament. That would just be amazing to see.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see the school spirit, liven up a little bit. On my Twitter feed, there was multiple things about the Albany basketball team, which is good to see. And also, I was following it on my phone because I have a few friends on the team, but I definitely hope that this livens up the whole campus.
Yeah. When I looked at Albany's schedule, I saw Ohio State and Washington on that, and I was so excited because I knew that we could win one of those games, and we beat the Huskies. And that's a big deal for our school. A Pac-12 team, regardless, any team, but they won the Pac-12 last year. I think it's a great accomplishment for this team.
Absolutely. I agree with everything you guys said. It's awesome that our team is, putting themselves on the map, because the one thing I kind of regret about, maybe the only negative about going to a school like this is we don't have a huge sports program. It'd be nice to go somewhere like Florida or Texas, where every season you have a team that's going to be competing for national championships.
People line up to go see the basketball.
Exactly, and those are it's a religion down there, and it's just good to see that wins like this can do a lot for a program. It's also going to help out with our recruiting. It's going to hope that throughout campus, maybe later on during the year, if they continue to have a winning season, get some more people at the games, make it events more than just games. It'll be something that everybody plans on doing throughout the week. I think that'd be really great. So congratulations to the team. We're going to go right into our final thoughts right now. So, Dylan, what do you got for us?
My final thoughts on Adrian Peterson. 10 months after ACL surgery, and he's leading the league in rushing. I tore my ACL last fall and had surgery literally a week before Adrian Peterson, and I'm still not completely 100%. So the fact that he's doing what he's doing, it just blows my mind. And if he keeps it up, he's running his way towards the MVP right now. And ACL brothers, man, we got to stick together.
All right.
I'm going to go with Andrew Bynum. I think he's getting way too much publicity for his haircut. First of all, it looks like a mop. Second of all, as a girl, who approves of that? I don't know who would pass that. Here, go walk out of the house like that. But I think he's getting way too much publicity. I'd like to see something else in news.
How about he plays?
Yeah,
and he's on the bench.
First.
So,
all right, Carl?
I'm going to go with college football. I look forward to seeing, after Alabama losing, which team out of K-State, Oregon, and the Fighting Irish, which two teams can go to the BCS championship. It's going to be a good couple of weeks to wrap up the season.
All right, my final thought is going to be on the New York Giants' very, very disappointing loss. When I look at the schedule and when it first comes out, you think, you see the Bengals going into a bye week. You're like, all right, great. We're going to beat Cincinnati. We're going to go into our bye week. We'll have 2 weeks to prepare for the Packers. And we go out and play the worst game of the entire year versus the Bengals. We got smacked around, looked terrible. And now we have, nothing positive to going into the bye week. Given that we have 2 weeks to prepare for the Packers are playing great. And that is not a good thing as a New York Giant fan to be going to try and play Green Bay right now after reeling off a loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, which should have been a guaranteed win. But hopefully we can pick it up versus Green Bay. Be great to see. That's my final thought. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Have a great Thanksgiving break and a great Thanksgiving. See you later, everybody.
Mike Woodson's the chocolate savior.
To all the non-believers. To all the non-believers. Especially you, Tom Jackson. Way to have our back, Keyshawn. Anybody can be beat.
So how did that just feel?
Felt great. Poetic justice. We know we were a much better team than we came up and represented ourselves, and we're pissed off. We was ready to come back and show what type of defense, what type of team this was, what kind of character we had. We take a lot of slack. People gave us no chance, like we barely made it in playoffs. We're a good football team.
It looks like this team played with anger all day. Why, Bart?
For all you non-believers, disrespect us, talk crap about the defense like we ain't the third best defense in the league. All we hear is about their defense. They can't stop a nosebleed. 25th in the league, and we the one to get disrespected.
Congratulations. See you in Pittsburgh.
Can't wait.